Now you can hear me. Meteorologist Jamie Singleton here on a Sunday, 6/14/2020. And I thought I'd start off by showing you the culprit for some active weather that'll be with us all week. Really more of a gloomy forecast after we get rid of the storms that are outside today. Right now we've got some very strong storms, severe storms in fact, down across eastern Tennessee, where we've got several reports of 1-inch hail down here across Tennessee. The upper low is right here, and again, this is the culprit. It's around Cincinnati. What I've done is I've popped up the upper level water vapor, which shows you the mid and upper levels of moisture, and that gives us a good idea of where the spin is in the atmosphere. So this is an area of spin that started up here in the northern tier states, and now it's diving down from the Great Lakes, and it's not done diving. In fact, it's digging as we speak. And when I say digging, I mean that the center of this is going to go from Ohio down across maybe South Carolina, Charlotte to Columbia here over the next 24 to 72 hours. So this thing is not moving east, it's going to dig to the south, although the rain is moving east because of the swirl that's counterclockwise around the system. So this is an upper level low, and if you remember back almost about 3 weeks ago, I think in May, around the 18th to the 20-something, 22nd or 23rd, we had a similar setup here with some river flooding. I don't know if we'll get that bad this time because, well, I'll show you some reasoning for that, but basically it looks like this thing, once it digs, it may have the heaviest moisture in North Carolina, but there's certainly some room for change. In fact, this afternoon models shifted north with time with that upper low, so we'll see where it goes. But you can see the band of storms right now, and it's moving into some very juicy air. The air is pretty unstable outside. We were allowed a fair bit of sunshine today. This is the visible satellite picture. That's going to load on here in just a second. Let me put the GOES back on here so you can see. But we've had breaks of sunshine across a good part of the Roanoke Valley into central and south central Virginia. And what that has done is allowed for, let me put my mesofill on here, allowed for sufficient CAPE. Storm energy basically is what's showing up here, right around 1,500 to 2,000 joules per kilogram. That's some pretty decent CAPE. And what that is basically buoyancy in the atmosphere and the lowest level of the atmosphere that these storms have to work with. And that's why we're seeing the hail out across East Tennessee. You also have to keep in mind that upper level lows actually have, let's see if I have it here, they've got cold air associated with them aloft. So when the sun comes out and heats the surface and you've got cold air aloft, you can get these thunderstorms to occur. I think I've got, I don't have 500 millibar temperatures on here, but I'll show you that on another map. Let's go into the radar. I want to show you this right now. Tazewell County has just been hit by some pretty heavy rain. In fact, we've got a flash flood warning in effect for southern McDowell County until 5:15. 2 to 3 inches of rain has fallen with this. We've got some tremendous rain rates in these storms. And the fact of the matter is, it's really not that. It's a little bit humid outside, actually, but dew points are only in the 50s outside, so to around 60. But the instability is overcoming that, and that's what the Weather Prediction Center was talking about just a couple of hours ago. That's in effect until 5:15. So flooding of small streams and creeks, and this is in southern McDowell County, is likely, if not already ongoing. Now you also have across Marion here a very torrential downpour. This one's putting down some very heavy rainfall rates. I'll look at this product to let it take away the general radar, and this shows me the green and blue areas is where it's really, really raining. You have to remember a radar, when you look at it like this, that's an exponential color scale there. So you go to the side of the screen right here, even though that looks like, the values are numerical and fairly linear, the actual radar equation tells meteorologists that, this rain is raining 10 times heavier than this rain. So once you get into the bright colors here on the radar screen, you've got some very, very heavy rain. So some torrential downpours from Bluefield, West Virginia, where the OB site there is reporting some very heavy thunderstorms. Berks Garden down through Marion, and now we're going into western Bland County, nearing Bland and Bastion as well. I don't see in Virginia a lot of hail. You can see here on the vertically integrated liquid density, this is how much moisture is packed into the air. At a certain point, there's not a lot there, maybe a little around Marion, but down here across Tennessee is where we really have the big hailers right now, although I can't rule out some hail with some of these storms as they continue to develop. Now, right now, it looks like these are going to get to about the Roanoke Valley, and then by that point, we may see them dissipate somewhat. But we'll have to keep an eye on these because right now they are moving in at a fairly good clip. So it will be interesting to see. There's some convergence here as well. We've got winds out ahead of these storms out of the east, and you've got upper level winds that are coming out of the west. So that's going to set up a pretty good area of convergence. It's right now feeding the storms, and that may continue for a while. So this is in the Mountain Empire. A lot of folks ask, where's the Mountain Empire? I consider it I-77 and west. I-77 and east is what I consider the New River Valley. And I'd say from, let's see, Harrisburg down through Giles County, Pulaski County, Radford, Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Reiner, Floyd, areas like Hillsville and Stewart need to watch these storms over the next several hours through at least 6 p.m., maybe even 7 p.m. And then thereafter, we're going to transition over to a general rainfall event. So let me show you some other stuff I've got here for you. First, I'll show you the storms in Tennessee. This is off of my WeatherTap account. You can see some of the storm reports here. Dime to quarter-sized hail in Greene County, Washington County, Tennessee there, 1-inch hail. Sullivan County near the Bristol area. Public reported 1-inch hail near Johnson City. Washington County, Tennessee, we've got a train spotter reporting 1-inch hail. Lee County, Virginia, dime to quarter-sized hail across eastern Lee County. So these storms do have a history of hail, and that's just in a result of those high instability values, also a result of the fact that we are looking at, let me pop it up here, cold air loft moving in. If you go to the Storm Prediction Center site, you can see this is the upper level low. And again, this is the low that's going to dive south, and it's going to pinwheel counterclockwise for several days. And again, it's a very similar pattern that gave us the foot of rain in late May. I don't think the values are going to be quite as high this time, but we'll have to watch it carefully. I do think values of 1 to 3 inches will be very common with locally higher amounts in some spots, although I got to tell you, the models have not been handling this all that well. In fact, the Euro model just yesterday, like the 5th run in a row, had all the moisture south of us by Tuesday. But now it's coming back to the north. So it's these upper lows can kind of do their own thing sometimes, and it makes it a little bit hard to forecast sometimes. But if you go to the 18,000 foot level, these are temperatures. And that highlights a little bit more. All these red dashed areas are the cold temperatures aloft. So we go to minus 15C to minus 20C. Once you get to around minus 20C, that's a pretty good indicator, of some cold air aloft for this time of the year, especially, considering it's mid-June. But, minus 14 to minus 15C will get you some hail, as we already know. in East Tennessee, and that's where it's occurring right now. So this cold air will continue diving south, and again, this is a computer model now going in through the next 4 to 6 hours. You can see how it holds it off here. Even through 6 hours, it holds it west of the Roanoke Valley. So it's primarily, I think, NRV and Southwest Virginia thing to worry about for the evening hours. And then we're going to transition over to more of a general rainfall. So this is the forecast here as we go through tomorrow. This is off the new 12Z NAM nest. You can see that line here gets to Roanoke, almost up to Roanoke here by around 8 o'clock tonight. It takes it a while. But again, we'll have to wait and see. And then it kind of pushes back and remains over the mountainous areas through the night tonight. But what happens is we start to open up the moisture south of here. So again, it won't just be this one area coming in. As the low dives south, it'll start to fetch moisture off the Atlantic Ocean. And that becomes involved and begins to move northward here. So for tomorrow, for Monday, it's more just a soaking rain. It may let up at times. It may start back up again. But for the most part, it's a light to moderate rain. I don't see much in the way of very heavy rain with this particular system. And one reason for that is we've got high pressure to the north here that doesn't have a lot of water vapor in the air compared to our very heavy rain events. And in fact, that's what saved us from flooding even worse back in May when we had this set up, is that we didn't have the tremendous rainfall rates. It rained a lot, but it was over an extended period of time, so it didn't really flood except on the rivers where all that runoff collects. We didn't have a lot of flash flooding though, and that may be the case again this time. So we'll have to watch the rivers this week, I think, but I don't know too much. You know, the ground's fairly dry in a lot of locations actually, and we could actually use a little bit of this rain in some spots. We don't need it all at once, and I don't see it happening all at once. I see it over an extended area. So again, a lot of folks say, you know, Jamie likes the hype stuff, and I do get into it when there's something going on, but this doesn't scream flooding to me. It's more of just a general rain that will last several days, although there will be probably some isolated river flooding issues as we go later on this week. And you can see one of the things I'm looking at here. I'll put this model into motion. This is the NAM through, let's put it through Wednesday here. A lot of the rainfall is along and south of the Roanoke Valley. Now, these are impressive numbers here. You're looking in North Carolina down around Greensboro. Through Wednesday, about 3 to 4 inches of rain. Martinsville and Danville, if the model's correct, get about 2.5 inches of rain. But again, that's through the next 4 days. So, you know, we've got some time to absorb this moisture, and while it will get soggy, I don't know if we're going to see tremendous flooding from this, or even mainly, you know, even just a little bit of river flooding from this. However, I don't want to limit that. You know, there's always, you know, room for this to change. I just want to keep you abreast of the latest model data and show you what I'm kind of thinking there on that. If you look at the other models here, this is the SREF. This goes through Wednesday. Let me advance it one more frame there for you. And you can see that the lighter amounts are actually across Lynchburg, under an inch of rain, and then you go across southwest Virginia here. And again, this is the Mountain Empire down into North Carolina, where the heaviest rainfall will happen. Looks like about 2 inches of rain for that area, and that's on the higher end of the different solutions that I'm looking at there. 3 kilometer NAM has more of a spotty nature, and it's a higher res model here, but I don't see anything tremendous, you know, jumping out at me here. And again, the Euro, if you even look at the Euro, this is the new 12Z Euro. It has Roanoke, and I don't think this will verify. I do think it'll be higher in Roanoke, but it's interesting, 0.22 inches of rain. But then you get across south central Virginia into North Carolina here, and you're looking at over 3, close to almost 4 inches of rain near Raleigh. I think the key takeaway from this is that with this upper low in place, we do have the potential somebody is going to see a lot of rain this week. The question is, you know, will it be widespread? It looks like it'll be, you know, a big area targeted somewhere, but again, we don't have a good handle with these upper lows on where the best rainfall will set up. You know, what the Euro's trying to do here, and this is the upper low in blue, you've got high pressure in red building north of it. So you get some dry air moving south, and the Euro's tapping into some of that drier air, and it's taking away the rainfall rates. And while it will be raining this week, it's making it more of a lighter rain But it's also doing something inertially with the upper low circulation in that it pivots the core there, the darkest area of blue. It pivots that back into the North Carolina area for Tuesday and the Wednesday and Thursday. And then finally, the actual low itself lifts north by Thursday and the Friday. But this will be a multi-day event. So we are going to have to watch each day and see where the heaviest rain develops. And that's going to just, that'll, of course, make the difference in who sees the heaviest rainfall and who has the biggest flooding potential. But any watches from the National Weather Service, again, I'll pass it along to you, will likely see at least some kind of flash flood watch or flood watch in and around the area, maybe even for the area in the coming day or two. And we'll watch that very carefully for you. After that, it's going to take a while again. We've got to wait till Friday for this system to really get out of here. And then by Saturday and the Sunday, we start to see more of a shortwave ridge develop, and that should get some warmer air in here come next weekend. And beyond that, we've got another upper low that could happen across the Great Lakes here as the West Coast decides to ridge up on us here. So we'll wait and see if that's valid. I know that the UK Met, this is, by the way, now the second most accurate model on the skill score level that we look at. You hear a lot about the Euro. You don't hear a lot about the UK Met. So I like showing you this. But, this is looking at, this is the system right now over Southwest Virginia. You can see it picks up on that. You've got the general rain that comes in here for Monday. But the UK Met, again, doesn't have it going. That's Smith Mountain Lake, that little dot there. Doesn't have it going very far to the north. So it's got that high, 1030 high to the north here, and it keeps that rain down to the south. Then finally by Tuesday into Tuesday night, and then even Wednesday, we finally see more of the moderate rain and even heavier rain move through as the upper low moves north. So in the immediate concern, this is where we have special weather statements in effect. This is off of Radar Omega. They have the high-res satellite over here, but they don't have it right now. They moved it out west, the actual 3D data, but we can still show you 3D alerts. And again, you can see that the hail reports there showing up, the 1-inch hail reports into East Tennessee and in the western North Carolina now. And again, we've got a special weather statement in effect here. I'll go ahead and read it for you folks. Again, in the Mountain Empire, it expires pretty soon. It's a pretty old SPS. But again, it includes Princeton, Harrisburg, and Wytheville into Grayson County. And there'll probably be more of these special weather statements here. Let's see. You can read along with me here. We had a lot of strong thunderstorms: Smith, Tazewell, Giles County, Bland, Wytheville, Grayson, Western Greenbrier, Summers, and Mercer County. And winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, pea-sized hail possible with these storms. Again, torrential rainfall, kind of echoing what I said. So again, we'll watch this area again as these storms continue to move off to the east. But again, they may be putting on the brakes, and that will be a concern. So this area, one thing I'm thinking out loud here, if this area does get a lot of rain, and they already are, if these storms decide to slow down, we are probably going to see the threat for flooding increase, certainly here along I-77 and west, because you'll already be kind of saturated. And then whatever happens later in the week, this may end up being the tender spot in terms of flooding. So we'll wait and see. But again, most of the rainfall after this will be tomorrow in North Carolina, edging into our area. Just some rainfall at times. May not rain the entire time tomorrow, but this is the first wave of many areas of moisture to move in. So that's your update for right now. I'll have more information as the week goes on. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Stay weather aware, folks, especially if you live near a river, stream, or creek, and have any plans to travel. Of course, always want to keep an eye on the fact that the water could cover the road. You want to turn around and don't drown in situations like that. Have a good rest of the weekend.